Hi, everyone. Welcome to Best Life by You, the podcast dedicated to helping you overcome challenges in nutrition, mindset, fitness, and relationships while prioritizing holistic health and wellness. I'm your host, Julia, and today we have a very special guest, David Atkins. David
Hello.
hello. I know you and what a bio this man has. So just listen, and this isn't even it, fam. So David is a retired New York State Police captain and Ground Zero first responder. He was honored as New York State Trooper and Investigator of the Year as well. He commanded Westchester County Police operations, led over 100 officers in crisis, and directed high-profile events like the USGA 2020 US Open in New York. $1 million entrepreneur, he built a 1,400-person team with Beachbody. He created the One Decision Away philosophy, authored 2 books, with his second book, The One Decision Away Philosophy, being a #1 bestseller, is an ultra marathoner, and hosts the Personal Perseverance Project podcast. As a trusted keynote speaker for conferences and events across industries, David inspires audiences from hundreds to 20,000 at iconic venues like the NFL Superdome in New Orleans. So everybody, welcome David. What
Yeah.
an introduction.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
yes.
I hate hearing it. It's always like awkward. You don't like hearing about yourself, but thank you. Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here and connect. I love everything about what you're doing and your energy. So let's go.
Yeah. So, I mean, really, it's just a conversation to hear
Yeah.
more about your story. I know your story because I've read, part
Right.
of your book. I don't know all of it, but most
Right.
of it. And again, guys, his book is amazing. You got to get it. I'll drop the link below and all of his socials and everything. But I would just love to hear your story about where you are now. I know, you have many reasons for where you're driven and what you're
Mhm.
doing. So feel free to share whatever part of your story, just so people can get an idea and relate with you.
No, absolutely. I think I can number one say that David Atkins I am right now is not the same person I was 15 years ago. And I probably should start there because
Yeah.
15 years ago, around in 2010, my wife and I'm a girl dad. We had 2 daughters. We had 2 daughters at the time. I have 3 daughters now. But my wife and I back 10, 15 years ago, 2010, we were in a much different place. We were 6 figures in debt, living paycheck to paycheck. And we would argue over things, Julie. I remember Julia arguing over things like the grocery bills and like bickering over the
Wow.
grocery bills. And I remember saying to myself, like, this is not how life should be. Like, we cannot continue on this
Yeah.
path because it wasn't that we were heading to divorce, but I felt that if I did not change what we were doing or figure out a change that we potentially could head there, like we were simply surviving in life, not thriving. And I remember finally saying, I need to have a conversation with my wife and not like at a time when I say it's the witching hours, 5, 6, 7 o'clock, kids are running around, baths and craziness. Like I said, no, I need to sit her down at like 9 o'clock at night and talk to her about like, we can't continue on like this. And I had all the fear, like, what if she doesn't believe me? What if she feels all this debt we have is the norm? What if she feels this is the way you live? We're tired all the time. But I'll never forget this one night. It was like 9:30 at night, looking at her in the eye, and the kids were asleep, our 2 girls at the time. And I said, we can't go on like this anymore. Like this is exhausting. And she heard me out and she agreed. And that was a pivotal moment in my life because at that very moment, we decided, all right, the #1 thing we're going to do is we're going to start taking care of our physical health, right? And what we did back then, and I was, being a state trooper, I was an ocean lifeguard growing up. But the thing is, like, I went to the gym, but I was like going through the motions in the gym. I was thinking I was eating healthy, but I was going through the motions. I was 20, 25 pounds heavier than I am now. She struggled to lose the baby weight, having 2 daughters going on 3. Like, so we were exhausted all the time. So we said, let's put our health first because we are big believers. And as you know, like, yeah, it's great to have the physical results, but the byproduct of having more energy and being less stressed, that's what we needed. So we decided to start doing a program called P90X. I'm sure you've
Yep,
heard of
I've
it.
heard of it.
People,
Yep.
100%. Yeah, people usually like PX90. So we did this P90X, and all the state troopers and guys like, oh, you're doing this Richard Simmons workout. Like, that's really not going to work. But we did it because that's what worked for us at the time because we did it from home. And we did it at 5 in the morning before our kids got
Beautiful.
up. And so often people like, I need my 8 hours of sleep, 5 in the morning. I'm like, I don't know, sleep 6 hours, sleep faster. I don't know what to tell you if you're up to 11 o'clock, right? but we did P90X and we got amazing results. And what happened by making that one decision to do P90X, people just started saying like, David, Kristen, what are you guys doing? Like, you look great. We became walking billboards, and we would just send them to beachbody.com. And Beachbody's the parent company of P90X. And then we started seeing like that there was a business opportunity with the company.
Yeah.
And it was a network marketing, direct sales type structure, which everybody's like, it's a pyramid scheme. It's not going to work. Like, why
You
are
hear
you
that of a
wasting
lot of things, yeah.
all the things, right? But I just said, I had a bigger vision of like, what if this can pay off our debt? Like, what if we can help people do the same thing? And we made that one decision and pursued the business. And in 2 years, we paid off 6 figures in debt and then became $1 million earners in the company. And then we were leading an international team of 1,400 people around the world. And then I like to say, and I know I mentioned to you earlier, that's when I feel God revealed to me a gift I didn't know I had, because Beachbody was like, hold on a second. Like, we have these quarterly events and you're a state trooper and now you're a lieutenant and you have 3 daughters and you built this big business, and like, how you doing all this? And can you share your story? And it started at a small event in a library in Katona, near where we are, for 15 people, right? And then it was like, can you speak at this 100-person event, then 200, then 500, then 1,000. Then I'm speaking to 20,000 people in an NFL Superdome. And that's when, like, an executive, I'll never forget, I finished speaking then. My phone was blowing up, people that just heard me speak. It brought me like to tears in my eyes, because I had like this feeling of like the feeling you have after a great workout, but it was overwhelming. People like, David, like, that was powerful. And an executive in my ear in the bathroom, like, I'm drying my hands, is like, David, you should be like a speaker, like a keynote speaker. I'm like, a speaker? I'm like, I'm a captain. I run this entire county, right? The state police. I have this business. I have 3 daughters. Are you crazy? But that's
Added other plans.
yeah, that's right. Right, exactly. And then I just said, I guess I fueled my faith and starved my fears, is what I like to say. Because in 2020 to 21, I retired. I made that one decision. And then that one decision led to my first book, because there were no events for speaking in 2021 because of COVID.
Yeah.
And then, I made the decision to write my book. Fast forward, been speaking around the country to big companies, Fortune 100 like Caterpillar and ADP, and then published my second book. And I guess here's my point, like the whole story.
Yeah.
If I did not make the one decision to talk to my wife, I wouldn't be on this podcast today. And my whole thing with my life is that we're so worried about what we need to do 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 3 months from now, but life will reveal to you, or I like to say God will reveal to you what you need to do next if you can make the one decision that you need to make pressing in your life today. And it's different for everybody. For me back then, it was to speak to my wife. For some, it may be listening to this to take care of your health. For some, maybe to start that podcast or start that side hustle or go after that promotion. I don't know what it is, but there's something that's in your life right now, one decision that you can make that can completely change your life. And for me, the one decision to speak to my wife led to better health, led to a business, led to a gift, to publishing. So it doesn't need to be linear, meaning like, it's not if you speak to your spouse, if you're struggling, it's only going to improve your marriage. No, it can affect all areas of your life. So now here I am, completely in a different place, that just started with like, we can't go on like this anymore. And now I'm here today. So that was an earful. That's
no,
like
it's not an earful. I can hear more. I'm like, keep it going, keep it going. It's so good. Like, it's very inspiring. And I know even before we started recording, we were just sharing our own stories of testament of God and faith and how we've gotten to where we are, and knowing that every single thing that you go through, it's only going to make you stronger. It's going to, that one decision, like pretty much, it could be getting in a car and choosing to quit your job. I know that's pretty extreme, right? But it could be, oh, today I'm going to start eating healthy. Like, today I'm going to start having fruits in the morning, and then it becomes a habit and habitual.
Yes.
And you're doing great with just setting that up for success, setting yourself up, setting your family. I would love to hear about how, because you're a family man, and I would love to hear about, I don't know how old your daughters were, but what was their, response to you and your wife taking this next venture? And how did that go around like your family dynamics? Because I do have, listeners are family members, and some of them are in that position where they're like,
Mm,
we don't know what else to do. Like we're
right.
stuck, we're strapped financially. And I know
Yeah.
Westchester, we're in the most expensive county in
Right.
the country. So
Right.
it's
Right.
like a lot of people are going through that. So one, how did you navigate that as a family of going through that transition?
Mm.
And how are you doing it now? And I guess what is your advice to people who want to take a next step, but they're afraid of, they're afraid of quitting their job or taking a step forward in what they believe they really should be doing because they need the stability, they need the income. So, sorry,
Right.
there's a bunch of questions, but whatever comes to your mind,
No,
like
I
I'd love
love
to
it.
just hear about the family dynamics and how to approach this, especially as a family man and a
No,
father.
these are great questions. Number one is I think it's the power of what is your why? Like, why are
Yeah.
you doing what you're doing? For me, it was I wanted my kids to get the best of me, not what's left of me. I wanted my kids to get the best mom and dad, the best of me, not what's left of me. And we were struggling, and that was we had to take care of our physical health because the reality is you can pay now and play later, or
Yep.
you can play now and pay later. You probably have heard that, right?
Yep.
So it was like we realized financially we had to change what we were doing. But what is your why? Like, what is your why behind it? And it has to be bigger than you because if it's just about you, when you hit something, which we all will, that's a lot tougher than you, you're going to quit because you don't have a driving force for why you do what you do. So
Mhm.
what is the bigger calling? Because except for one tiny speck on this earth, Julia, the world is made up of people other than you and I.
Yeah.
So we have to realize it has to be about others. So my why at the time was to be the best for my kids, to be the best as a dad, to be the best captain with the Sabres, to be the best human being. So that was number one because you had to push through hard times. Number two
Yeah.
is with every goal, you have to make sacrifices. There, you're not going to get anywhere without making sacrifices. So for me early on, and I'll tell you, it was nothing it wasn't easy at first because I was the one who started building business first, and my wife Kristen was like, listen, you're always on your phone, you always work in the business, and there was a struggle there. So then we sat down, another conversation. I love that you asked this, and she's like, listen, you're not present. And I've learned now to be where your feet are. It's something I always live by. Like life is passing us by because our heads are on our phones. And she caught that like before dinner, after dinner, bath time, like I'm constantly working. So we had an agreement like, all right, listen, you can work this business or we can work together, but it has to be after our kids go to bed. Well, what do we normally do after our kids go to bed? Most families, they're watching Netflix, they're scrolling their phone, I played men's softball leagues, they're playing with all these things you do, but I realized they weren't serving me. So if I wanted to get out of this, like I built my business to $1 million business working 8:30 at night to 11:30, 12 o'clock at night when most people are sleeping or most people are watching Netflix or TV. So the sacrifices for me was I gave up the softball leagues. I gave up hanging out with the guys multiple times during the week. I gave up watching TV. I gave up all of that. That was the sacrifice because family first. I had to be present. And then I worked in the evening hours to build that business. And I became relentless in terms of consistency in doing that. So that was the sacrifices I had to make, and the bigger the goal, the bigger the sacrifice. It's just the way
Yeah.
it is. You're not going to achieve anything without making sacrifices, right? Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
No, absolutely. And so I was gonna say sacrifice, and even I'll be 30 in a couple days. And for
Happy
me, it's
birthday.
thank you. But that's the thing is I felt like I've sacrificed a lot. Like I've
Mm,
sacrificed dating, I've sacrificed going out with friends, I've sacrificed a
mm,
lot to build my business and work and be, a single woman in Westchester. And I'm like, well, I have these goals of things I want to do, and I know what it's right now. I want to play later, right? Like right now I'm
yeah,
sacrificing so I can play later and enjoy
yeah,
it later. And
yeah.
that's one of the things, like sacrifice. You say that and it really, and I had this conversation with Joe too. It's like, I don't feel bad about what I'm doing. It's like
Mm,
I don't feel bad about, I'm going to make time for the things that matter,
right.
and I'm going to make time for that. But I don't miss like going out in the evening to go out for a drink. Like I'd rather
Mm.
get restful sleep so I can
Yeah.
wake up and have a productive day the next day. It's like
Yeah.
those things, and having those crucial conversations, those tough conversations that a lot of people will just swallow. They'll suppress their emotions and not push
Yeah.
through it. So it's I commend you a lot for setting those boundaries. And I'm sure that
Mm.
was hard. Like, how did your
Oh,
wife, like, even she tried, because I know she left her job and
right.
position.
All
So
of it.
tell
All
me,
of it.
yeah.
And let me tell you, you're going to have haters, you're going to have critics. For years, I had people that I work with, that my friends, that mocked and made fun of this Beachbody business. You know, when I wanted to be a speaker, there was people like, you're going to be a speaker. Why? That's like, you're going to retire at 43. You're about to get promoted. That is the dumbest thing I ever heard. You're not a writer, David. You're going to write a book.
Mm,
Like, it's just, you know, but this is my why. This is my goal. This is my
yeah.
vision. I'm not trying to appease other people. And let me tell you, once you stop allowing other people to have control over you, it's the most freeing thing in the
Yep.
world. We
Yep.
so often give power over others. But every time I wanted to do something, that there were haters. And you know what? This is my advice for that. Don't ever take advice or criticism from somebody who's less successful than you. That's what I always like to say, right?
All the mic drops today.
Yeah. But
Mic drops.
yeah, it's so like I've
It
learned that
is
as
true.
I
Very
grow,
true.
or like, even if you want to go even further, don't take criticism from somebody that hasn't done what you've already done. Like, you've had Joe on your podcast, Joe
Yeah.
Gagnon. I become friends with him. I ran my first ultra marathon because of him last year, and
Yeah.
now I'm running my next one. And when he speaks, I listen. We have two ears and one mouth for a reason. Listen,
Yes,
he's
literally.
taught me. He's like so like I soak it in. Why? He's done it before. But then I
Yeah.
have people that are like, David, you're 48. You're gonna get hurt. You're gonna have bad knees. Why are you running these like you're sitting on the couch. You're
Yeah.
50 pounds overweight eating your Doritos. Like, to each his own. If you're happy, fine. I'm not
Yeah.
knocking it, but I'm not allowing somebody to affect the way I think that has never done what I've done or walked in my shoes. Right?
Yeah. That's, I mean, everything. It's just like, yes, preach it, preach it. And it's harder. It's harder as and you've probably seen, the closer you get to the top, the more lonely sometimes it could be. Or it could be harder to find people who are
Yeah.
very like-minded. And like that's, sometimes, and I get swept up. I'm at that age, like I said, I'm 30. I have a lot of friends who are married with kids and
Yeah.
things of that nature. And I'm like, that right now is not God's calling for me at this
Yeah.
exact moment of my life.
Yeah.
Like, there are other things, but I do, I find it sometimes challenging to relate, because I'm like, a lot of my girlfriends are in those positions and
Yeah.
I'm not. And so I'm
Right.
like, no, my goal is building my business, writing more books, doing speaking events, like be a celebrity nutritionist. Like, those are the goals that
Yeah.
I am working towards, and things of that nature, where again, it's the sacrifice, it's that. So you have a lot, and I would love to hear like what, or you have a lot going on, going for you. It's amazing, like
Yeah.
what's going to be happening even the next 5 years. So in
Oof.
regards to like that transition and values, because I love talking about values, right? And I think we could talk about that. So I would just love to hear about your values. What does a typical day look like for you in honoring those values? I know you mentioned health. I know you mentioned faith, work.
Yeah.
So talk to me about values, how to determine or discern like what is non-negotiable value for you, what is something that
Yeah.
needs to happen every day. So
Yeah.
just
No,
let's
I
talk
love
about
it.
that.
I
Yeah.
love it. And Julie, I want to back up 60 seconds because you talked about
Yeah.
loneliness. There's a
Yeah.
chapter in my book that loneliness is part of the process. I actually
Yeah.
put a post up about it today because
I'm
you
gonna
have to
get
understand.
there. I'm gonna read it.
No, that's
We're
fine.
almost
But
there.
I need to share this to people that when you decide
Yeah.
to do something that most people have not done, you're going to walk a lonely path. There has been times I remember, and the reason I wrote this chapter, there was a late night, maybe a year or 2 years ago. I'm working in the office. It was like 10:30. I'm exhausted on my speaking business, and my wife came in, and I'm like, I'm just exhausted. Like, I'm doing all this. And she's like, listen, you need to talk about this lonely like process because
Yeah.
that's that's the price. People think that you need to be your own hero sometimes, and not everybody's going to always cheer you on. You got to be
Yep.
your own cheerleader. So when you're lonely, when you feel lonely, and I put today's post, it's not a
Yeah.
stop sign, it's a growth sign. Like,
Love that.
you're in it right now, like you're
Yeah.
hitting
Oh
things.
yeah.
And it's lonely, and your friends are doing all these things.
Yeah.
Right now, for me, all of my other people I know that are retired, or they're pursuing careers in security now, or becoming
Mhm.
chiefs of police in small police departments. That's the norm. And I'm out here doing these other things that are hard AF trying to grow.
Yeah.
and it's just lonely, but that you got to accept and say, all right, that's part of the process. But
Yeah.
like my values, so like my day is pretty, it's pretty structured. It's pretty religious, spiritual, like
Good.
very
Good.
as it is. So like, so the night number one is my phone. I'll give you all like my phone. So if you could see here, like that's
Yes.
me and my family, but no
Yeah.
notifications, no banners, nothing's ever on. Like they're all
Yeah.
off. When
Do
I'm
not
here,
disturb.
do
I'm on
not
do not
disturb.
disturb all the time.
Yeah, do not disturb. So like during the day, I never have the icon like 37 notifications on Facebook. Like it's never there because it's
Yeah.
distracting and you head down the rabbit hole. So my morning routine is the most important thing, and it starts the night before because
Yep.
my phone goes on sleep, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't get pings or texts or anything. It starts at like 9 o'clock. And then until the morning when I wake up, like most people, they immediately wake up and go right to this, right? And I like to say, this is somebody else's agenda. Your inbox is somebody else's
Yeah.
agenda. So like my first hour of my morning routine every morning is I start with gratitude. Things I'm grateful for. I do prayer. I always prayer. I do personal development reading. And probably 75% of the week, I also do meditation. I use an app like Calm and I
Yeah.
do meditation. I spend an hour of mindset work. Like that's an hour of the morning. And then I work out for whatever after that, whether it's an hour, hour and a half. And that my exercise is 6 days a week. My morning routine is 7 days a week, non-negotiable. Then I'm ready for the day. Like if I don't get that done and I get up normally before everybody else gets up, my wife will get up early, but that is my sacred time for me. You know, people are like, oh, you know, I don't have time to exercise. You know, I got to worry about my kids. No, back to what I said earlier, your kids need a better version of you. It's
Yeah.
not selfish, it's selfless. And when
Yeah.
you take care of yourself first, you're better for the ones that you love, right? So for me, like this morning, I did my hour routine, went out and ran 5 miles this morning, and then I sat down to do work. Like that's just the way I operate. And those values, it's every single day. And then going to church on Sundays. I know
Yeah.
we briefly spoke. I'm a Catholic, so every Sunday it's family mass, and family time is also super important to me. So I love being with my family. Like last night, like I got up, I ran 10 miles yesterday, did my morning routine, worked all day, and went to the New York Met game. I'm a Met fan. I don't know
Yeah.
if you're a baseball fan at all. So
I
I
went
went
to
to
the
the Met.
Yankee game last night for my sister's birthday.
Oh,
But
there you go. So
I'm
you were
not
there.
tied to any team though in particular.
You're not
For
tied to any
baseball.
team.
For baseball, yeah.
Baseball. So my youngest daughter, just her and I went to the Met game, and like
Oh,
that
fun.
was family time, and like so like I'm a family man. I'm not my inner circle. I also keep it very small. Like I
Yeah.
guard who I hang out with and who I'm around. That's important to me because of the goals that I have and where I'm heading. But yeah, those are my values. My structure is, and I'm very intentional, Julia.
Yeah.
I think people kind of wake up and go through the motions. And for me, it's like, no, I'm very intentional to make those one
Yeah.
decisions every day that I know are going to improve my life.
Good. And I will say the hardest thing I've noticed. So I thank you for sharing all that. And that's a
Yeah.
beautiful, beautiful morning routine.
Yeah.
I've been really good with mine, but lately I've been drinking my water every time I wake up in the morning. I say my prayers and then I go to my phone and I'm like, okay, who texted me? I
Yeah.
only have my text on, but still it's not, not
Yeah.
great. But and it'll be clients, it'll be this. And I'm like, okay, you at least know clients text you, but don't respond yet. Like I try to
Yeah.
wait to respond, but
Right.
I also need to work on that routine and that balance. I was going to mention just about your like social media, for example, because you do a lot of promotions and things like that. So as from one business owner to someone else who's also has a social media presence, how do you balance that? Because that's something I noticed. Like now I left teaching and now I'm growing my business online, social media, posting podcast episodes. Do you set a certain amount of time per day where you're on social media? How does that work? Is somebody helping
Yeah.
you? I want to hear
Yeah.
just about that because that we can go down a rabbit hole,
Yeah. Oh,
comparison, all
totally.
of that. So yeah, talk to
Totally.
me about
So
social media.
I'm very every day. I'm pretty much posting every day. I love Gary Vaynerchuk's thing, document, don't create. So it's kind of what's come into my mind for the day. But
Yeah.
the main thing I think I would say is that I try, and again, there's times I struggle with it, but I try never to go in there really to scroll, like ever.
Yeah.
I'm going in there with a mission and a purpose, right? So for me, so I have Instagram, I have Facebook, I recently started a TikTok, but also I have
Me too.
LinkedIn.
Recent.
There you go. I have LinkedIn because that's where a lot of professionals are with the work I'm doing now. So I have like for my LinkedIn, I have a plan mapped out of what I'm doing, what I'm posting 5 days a week. Like I need to do this and I sit down and I do it. Instagram is more day to day. I'll just document my life, but I'm putting content up there. And really my brand as a keynote speaker and my philosophy, one decision way, everything's really about that. My Facebook, I would say, is a little bit more personal in terms of family and stuff, but I literally only use it to market in my brand and to kind of put inspirational stuff out there. Yeah. And maybe if it's in the evening and I have some downtime, maybe I'll scroll and laugh a little bit. But really, my usage is minimal. Like, because we don't have time to waste.
Yeah.
Like this morning, while running, something came to mind about life is hard and whatever your goals are, it's going to be 10 times harder. That came to my mind when I'm running. That's kind of how I operate. So I record a video running. I made it a real boom. I put it up like I'm done. That's it.
Yeah.
I'm done. And then like I had a photo carousel from 3 days ago I planned that went up on my LinkedIn and Instagram, but I'm not going back in there. When I'm done with on this call, I have work to do. So I think people use it as a time suck. There's two ways to use it. You can use it as a time suck, or you can use it to help build and serve and make it a business. And I choose the latter.
Yeah, that's it. And this is my version of me 2 years ago. I remember I sat on when I was a teacher. I was very much my schedule had to be so routine coaching. Like I'm a Orange Theory coach, lifetime coach, working part-time jobs. So it was a time. Like I'm like, when am I going on my phone? I'm literally not going on my phone, period. People will get text response 3 days later. And I would only set aside, it was like Saturday from 12 to 12:15, I think. That was my only social media time. It was when I was done coaching. And that was my only social media time that I had during the whole week. And I felt such a difference of like mental health stress, everything, where now that's something I'm working on getting back to. Is like, how do I set myself up as being such an online, because I'm an online business. How do I create that presence, go forward with it? So that is something I'm also working to be more intentional on. And I know it's taking time, because it's true. I'll go down and then you get stuck in comparison, or like people have debates over this or this. And I'm like, okay, Julie, we need to cut this off. So I just wanted to hear, because I know you get a lot of your jobs, I'm sure, in market and meet people online. So it's like that balance you have to be so on top of it.
No, you have to be. Like I have I have a structure. I have a schedule every day. That's the best thing to put it. Like I have my morning mind and exercise. Then I know what I need to do for my speaking business. I have it mapped out. And then if I'm done for the day and I have extra time, if it's not family time, then maybe I'm a big reader. That's the other thing. Like personal development, I read a lot. But if I have some extra time, I will go on there. But I'm not in there scrolling. It's hard. I'm not in there scrolling. I don't waste my time. And when it comes to comparison, and I speak about this in the book too, I even say, obviously the whole thing, people are, comparison's the thief of joy. I always say, sometimes you find yourself, and this is how I put this in the book. Sometimes you find yourself, there's somebody you look up to, somebody you aspire to be, somebody who's achieved what you want, and you look for them for motivation, but then all of a sudden you find yourself, you're comparing yourself to them, and it could be the negative. And I say in my book, I said, it's okay. I'm giving you permission to snooze or stop following the people that you look up to, not because you don't look up to them, but they're affecting your headspace. Yeah. And I've done that. Like that when I'm growing and there's certain people that I really love, I'm like, all right, I need a time. I don't want to watch Julia anymore because I want to get there, but seeing where she is affecting my space of comparison. And listen, we all struggle. Like I have it too every single day, but I've learned, and another thing I mentioned in the book, principles over emotions. Like that's a chapter. I choose, principles of, I know that if I'm consistent and disciplined and all these things, they're tried and true, they will work. If I follow my emotions of comparison or following my mood, or I don't feel motivated, at the end of them is nothing. There's no promises. It doesn't help you. So I'm a big person. Like when I'm struggling at times, I'm like, all right, I need to anchor my decisions on the principles that I know work, not on how I feel with my emotions.
Yeah, that's it. And I do remember reading that part about the emotions. And I think
Yeah.
I said something in my fitness class because somebody came in and they were like, I don't feel like being here. I'm like, yeah, that's your emotions talking. Like, that's not,
Right.
it's not your actual, like, it's good. You're going to feel better when it's over. And
Totally.
it's reminding, and it's really being able to differentiate that moment. Like, do I actually, am I really exhausted, or is it my brain just saying, hey, I'm tired? I'm
Yeah.
feel like you have to
Yeah.
understand and know your body and be able to connect with that. But there's a lot of people who will use that. They'll jump on the emotion. I don't feel like working out today. Well, my
Right.
body's really tired. I'm like, well, you get more energy working out. So why
Right.
not? Because I'm a big
What?
fitness guru too. Like,
Yeah.
I've been training for 15 years. I'm obsessed with fitness,
Yeah.
obsessed with it. So it's like, if I don't get my training in, even if it's a quick 30-minute workout, I need
Yeah.
to get something in to move my
Yeah.
body just to
Yeah.
separate from the
Totally.
day. So that's, yeah, you're on top of it. So even just thinking about all these things, like, I'm loving it. I'm being inspired by you. I'm like, I'm gonna go after this call, I'm gonna go ahead, go to my schedule. Because I laugh on
Yeah.
calls because I bring this up, and this is probably the second time I've shown this. I have a self-care list of
Yeah.
things to do for the week to make sure like I'm doing self-care. Like, I'm at Lifetime, and because I work there, and so I go to their sauna and steam room at least twice a week. I'm like, even if it's 5 minutes,
Yep.
disconnect from society, just sit here,
Yep.
say that.
Yep.
It's usually I pray, I'll do whatever, I'll have my
Yeah.
conversation with Jesus. And but I have a self-care list because I'm I try to overachieve everything, and the comparison, I think it's become very hard because I look at social media, even though I work very hard and whatnot, I do go down that rabbit hole of being like, dang, this girl is 5 years younger than me. She's thriving, being so successful, and I'll have to, like you said, I'll have to mute them. Like, I mute people
Yeah.
who I'm not being inspired by and whatnot. And it's just one of those things, it's the discipline factor. And I think social media, ever since I really became more of an online presence, that's been my hardest thing, is stopping my time on social media, of like trying to be inspired by people, but then going into the comparison. And I'm like, Julie, you weren't like this 2 years ago. It's just like, now that you have a business and a million other people have a
Mm.
business, that it's like yours. So that's something I'm working on. So speaking of
Well, I
like,
want to say
yeah,
that.
go
I want to
ahead.
say two things to you to help you.
Yeah.
Number one is give yourself some grace, number one,
Yeah.
because we all go through those struggles, Julia. Like even it will never change. We're human. You're going to have that. It's part of your life, right?
Yeah.
Number two is I like to say, don't compare the highlight reel you see on social media to your everyday life,
Yeah.
because 99.9% of people are not willing to share their struggles on social media. They're not. And
Yeah.
we compare our struggles with what we see on the highlight reel. And once
Yeah.
I preach that, I say it on when I speak, and that's the whole point. And once you can step back, because when you get caught in it, you're like, whoa, you got to give yourself some grace, and you got to realize those people struggle too. They're just not willing to share it. So
Yeah, that's
you know,
so funny. My pastor had said that about highlight. I remember he had said, he's like, it's not, it's just a highlight reel. It's
yeah,
literally everybody's best versions, best everything, just a highlight reel. It's not
totally.
anything but that. Like,
That's all it is.
all the
Most
good
people
things.
aren't willing to struggle. Aren't willing
No.
to share the
Share
struggle.
share
Not at
their
all.
struggle. Yeah. But I was
Right.
gonna say, like, with everything you've been saying, and this might be a very long-winded answer response, but I would love to talk about your balance. But how do you define healthy with that? What is your definition of healthy? If somebody asked you,
Mm,
David, what does healthy look like to you? What are the first few things that come to mind? Is it food? Is it relationships? Is it,
mm.
what does that word look like to you?
For me, I think mental health is wealth. That
Yeah.
that I feel like it all connects to that. When I feel good mentally, usually it means my exercise is going well, I'm eating good
Yeah.
foods, my wife and I we're in a good space. I'm good with my kids.
Yeah.
Like I once heard and it was me when I went through therapy years back, and my therapist said, David, mental health is wealth. And it hit me. And I'm like, wow, it's so true.
Yeah.
Because all of the things that I do day in and day out, whether it's following my goals and vision to feel fulfilled, it's for mental well-being, right? With a sense
Yeah.
of purpose. When I exercise, yes, it's physically, but it's also to feel good mentally. When my relationships are in a good place, I feel good mentally. So for me, it's like when your headspace is in a good place with mental health, like that is what I consider health, because health is such a broad
Oh
word,
yeah.
right?
Oh yeah.
But for me, when I think of mental health, I feel like all areas surrounding that are directly connected to your mental health.
Yeah, and I think that's even as a nutrition coach, like I run my online business. It's nutrition, mindset, and physical transformations. Like I call it the
Yeah.
body transformation, right?
Yeah.
I don't promise anybody that they're going to lose a certain amount. I'm like, we're going to the foundations. Like we're going
Mm.
to your habits. We're tracking
Yeah.
your habits, what you spend your time doing, drinking water, getting
Mm.
sleep. Like those foundations are so important in order to change.
Totally.
And for health, I so many clients, I'm like, this can't change until this changes.
Yeah.
This has to change first because
Yep.
people will say, "Oh, I'll be happy when I'm 130 pounds." The amount of times I hear that, "I'll be happy when I'm 130 pounds." I'm like, so what happens when you're 130 pounds? You're
Right.
not like, what's next? Well, I'll be happy when
Right.
I'm 125. It's like the weight, first of all, I could go on and on about the number on the scale. I don't focus on that. That is
Yeah.
not a metric I focus
Yeah.
on. But it's just one of those things. Having worked with so many clients of all ages, I just hear a lot of people will say, like, a lot of it's mindset. A lot
Mm.
of it is like not having either the environment that can support them or people that
Mm.
have pushed them down or have pushed them to stay in a comfort zone. Like, especially, I work with a lot of mothers and they'll be told like, no, you need to stay where you're at because you're raising kids, you have kids, like you need the stability, like you have to be there for them. That was a sacrifice you made. Like, you have to be a mother first. And these women I would have to help teach them, like, let's go ahead and take this 1 hour for you to work out. And
Right.
it's something that I've heard a lot of people be pressured into staying where they're at and wait for your kids to grow up and not prioritize it. And so
Mm.
when I read your story and then heard what you said, I was like, this is so inspiring. Just like
Yeah.
for you and your wife having kids at home to be able to have both, even though it was very hard, but both take that leap. It's like,
Mm.
first of all, you can't do that without God. You had God's
No.
provision. But just like to be able to do that was like, I was like, wow, this is amazing. And then to take care of your debt too is another
Yeah.
thing. So, I'd love to even talk, even if, I mean, if you don't mind sharing, like, what is your advice around finances? Because a lot of people have relationship issues with money and finances, and
Mm.
they'll say, I don't have money for health. I don't have money to go to the gym. It's not because we usually hear time and money. Those are the two things.
Hmm.
I don't have time to go to the gym. I don't have money to invest. What are your thoughts around like how you went about that? What are your thoughts around your relationship with finances or any of this? Like whatever
Yeah, no,
comes to
I think
mind.
it's a great question. Number one, like what we did is we followed Dave Ramsey, Total Money
Yep.
Makeover.
Yep.
So
I
we read
know
that book.
exactly.
So that was what we did when we were in six figures in debt. And that
Yeah.
made me really look in the mirror and realize, all right, how much money am I spending on BS? Like, how many times a week am I buying food when I'm out, as a trooper or buying food? So then it was, all right, I'm packing my food every single day. And then I save that money here. How much people, if you were to look at your expenses, what people look at, how much times are you going to get your $6, $5 Starbucks, or wasting mindless spending, stopping at the gas station and getting a snack? Like,
Yeah.
it adds up. So the number one is like when I read Dave Ramsey's Total Money Makeover, it made me realize, all right, I have to figure out my spending habits. And then I followed his system and plan. No credit card. Like we have no credit card debt. We do have a credit card now that we put everything on, but then
Yeah.
every 2 weeks when I do the
Hey,
bills, I just pay it in
pay 'em off.
full.
Yeah.
Right, pay it off. So like, there's no credit card debts. It was so bad. I mean, Julia, the game we played was that I would have credit card debt. And then when that I would have be on a zero interest credit card for six
Yeah.
months. And when it was about to expire, I'd get something in the mail for another zero interest credit card for 6 months. And I'd move the whole balance over and play this shuffle game and just thought that was the norm. So like, it wasn't until like we read the Total Money Makeover and came up with an emergency fund. And now today it's still like we have the one credit card and that's it. And we do the bills every 2 weeks. And let me tell you, it's still
Yeah.
never easy. Having three
No.
girls is very expensive.
Oh yeah.
The keratin and the hair and the nails and the
Oh,
toes and
girl,
the makeup, you
I
know?
know. I'm as a female, I know. And I'm
So I
and I'm
really,
like,
and my wife, my beautiful wife, like, so really it's four of them. I'm like, you guys, I'm going to be working to the day I die speaking because I can't keep up with all of you. But the reality is, so it's not like, I'm sitting here as a gazillionaire. No, not at all. It's just
No.
that I'm much more disciplined. As Dave Ramsey says, tell your money where to go.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of like, whether it's going for college savings, whether it's to do this, whether it's for vacations. When we go on a vacation, we're paying for the vacation in cash. And
Yeah.
everybody has the ability to do it. And I like to say, this is a line I always say, and this comes with anything, your fitness, your health, your finances. Work with what you have with where you are, because what you have is plenty.
Yeah.
And again, work with what you have with where you are, because what you have is plenty. Don't try to keep up with the Joneses, do everything else. Work with where you are. You right? Work together with your spouse. What is your income? What could you cut? What is really not a necessity? No, what is a necessity? What is not? And you just have to be intentional with it. I think too many people say that, but when you really sit down and say, all right, let's write out, let me see all of your expenses for the last 30 days, you're going to find gaps of wasted money. And that's when you could start beginning. It's a habit. You got to change the habit, and you got to take care of the most important muscle, which is your brain. You have to be willing to grow. And when you said earlier, some people I don't have the environment, people, saying this is what I need to do. Or some people say, David, but I don't have people that support me. I said, you know what? I didn't have that either back, but my mentors became the authors of the books that I read.
Yes.
And that's like, and you can get today, like, yesterday's run, listen to motivational hour video on YouTube. It's free. There's podcasts that are free. I read books. Learn from people that are more successful than you. Stop listening to the news in the car or music, and make your car a mobile university. Listen to a good book that will fuel your mind. Like that I believe is the secret to everything, is once I was willing to commit to personal development and grow my mind and read every day. Like right now I'm reading The Magic of Believing. I'm reading this old book from like the 40s, but it still applies. And right now I'm reading about a chapter about the subconscious, and when you have affirmations and you speak, how your subconscious will start working. Like I'm still growing today. It's not a destination. You pay the toll every single day.
Yeah. There's so many, you're just saying so many things. And I agree with you. The news is the number one thing.
Oh.
My mom will be so funny. She'll be so mad sometimes. She's like, you don't know what's going on in the world. I'm like, no, if it's that important, like my door will get knocked on and I will figure out what's going on. But she'll be like, you need to know these things. Like you should be watching, be informed and stuff, which I do understand. Like you want to be informed.
Yes. You do
so
need to be
agree.
informed.
I agree with that, but I don't need to know that Stacy's house was, robbed, who lives in New Jersey. Like those are things that you're choosing what you want to listen to. And you had said, even when I went plant-based, it was, and I write about this in my book too, but just so many people around. My mom had cancer, my grandma had cancer, like everybody was just struggling with health around me. And I'm like, something needs to change. And I picked up a book, I read it, and Crazy Sexy Diet by Chris Carr, and that just changed my mindset. I was like, because I was always into health and trying things, figuring out, cutting things out, like just seeing what worked best for my body. And I, read How Not to Die by Michael Greger, and I just went down this rabbit hole of reading and reading and reading, and those became my inspirations. Like I was like, wow, these people I'm just reading and loving and learning, and I felt like they were my friends. Like I was like, all these people I just feel so connected with. And I love the personal development books because that too, I feel like I'm continuing to be inspired or reminded. And motivation is like lotion. You got to keep reapplying it. You're not, sure, one thing can inspire you, but you're really trying to build discipline, showing up. And that's what I think a lot of people struggle with, is like that they don't have the motivation to do it. It's like, no, you keep doing the same thing over and over and over, just like you did for brushing your teeth, riding a bike. Like it becomes discipline where you don't even think about it. And so when people always they'll say, oh, I just want the motivation. It's like, that's not what you're looking for. You're not looking for the motivation. You're looking for just showing up, even if it's 1 minute, 2 minutes, go to the gym for 5 minutes and then leave if you have to. Like just start getting in that habit, and then it will become discipline. But everything.
100%. I totally agree. Motivation, we so often wait to feel motivated to start, but when you start, then you'll feel motivated, right? Like it's the exact opposite. And even when it comes to goals and dreams, everybody tries to figure it out first. I say, no, once you find your why, you'll find your way. just start and figure it out as you go,
Yeah.
and we're just so caught up because I like to say people live life by default. 98% of society lives life by default. We allow the circumstances of our life to control how we show up, but 2% live
Yeah.
life by design, right? And it's how you
Yeah.
react to what happens to you. And the same with the news. Like I'm not saying I'm not going to be misinformed. I check on it every day. Like when I ran the county, I had to know what's
Yeah.
going on.
Yep.
But the reality is, no matter what side of the political fence you're on, anything, if you go
Yeah.
in the news and you spend a lot of time there, you're going to end up angry, mad, the
Yes.
division, it's
True.
sensationalized. Like, no, I want to know what's going on in the world. But then other than that, like, I'm good. I'm focusing on the things I know will fuel my mind. I don't need to watch the news all day. I read my New
Yeah.
York Mets news and I like check on the world and that's it, you know?
That's good. Well, sometimes that's even like I'll get the news headlines to my thing. So
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, at least I can see, I guess, what's going
There you
on. Like
go.
in the news app, I can see that. But
Right.
it's there's certain things where I'm like, yeah, we do have to be informed. And I'm
Yeah.
not saying I'm not. It's just like
Right.
I don't care to go down that
Don't
rabbit
waste your
hole
time
of
there.
that's the thing. And to mess up my mind and to start off my day
No.
like that, it's just your day starter is very profound. Like I'm like, that is what we all need to be doing. Or we could all strive for. So I have two more questions that I'd love to
Yeah.
just dive into. So rest. You
Oh,
as somebody who's been working so much, a father, a husband, a speaker, business owner, all the fun things.
mm,
What does rest look like to you? I know you had mentioned family, you have family time,
mm.
but what does rest look like for you? Does everyone need rest? Talk to me about just what
No, I
comes to
love
mind for
that.
that.
I could even tell you that has been a growing journey, even the last year to 2 years. So I was always a 5 a.m. person. I would say 2 years ago, I was doing like the 4 a.m. club. Like I'm in
Yeah,
the 4 a.m. club, but I found by like the afternoon, I was exhausted,
good.
right? And then the more I grew and read and learned about just overall health and as you get older and even learning about, so my dad was recently diagnosed a year ago with Alzheimer's disease, so I've been studying
Yeah,
that and the importance of rest and all these things. So I started really looking into it. I'm like, you know what,
yeah,
sleep is so important. So for me now, like when I said my phone goes on kind of sleep mode at night, it's 9:15 to be exact.
yeah,
I try to be in bed every night by 10. I don't do the 4 a.m. or 5 a.m. club now. It's like more like 6 a.m. I get up
yeah,
because I want to strive for 8 hours.
yeah,
And Julia, I also like if there's times like I had a big workout like yesterday. I ran, did 10 miles with Joe and another buddy.
yeah. Oh, I saw
Kind
you. I
of
saw on Instagram.
right. So you
On
start. So
Instagram.
we ran early, like we ran like we started by 6:30. So I was
Yeah,
up at 5:30 and I did the run with them. And then I worked for hours all day. And then like there was an hour where I had this hour window in the afternoon before I was going to the game with my daughter. And I'm like, I'm exhausted. And like I shut my eyes. It was like 35 minutes. The point being is I realized how important it is for rest. You know what I'm saying? And
yeah,
there's a fine line of people that are sleeping in at 8, 9 o'clock. No, I'm not saying that. What I'm just saying is that instead of watching TV at night, I will choose to go to bed by 10
yeah,
o'clock. Even a huge Met fan, if it's the seventh
yeah,
or eighth inning, I'm like, all right, they're ahead. Unless it's a huge game, I go to
yeah,
bed and I wake up because if I don't sleep well, then my next day is completely impacted.
yeah.
Totally.
Oh,
And
same.
as a speaker, when I travel and speak, like I will take magnesium, some stuff that maybe
Hmm.
helps me sleep because
Yeah,
I need to be the best on stage and have good energy. So to answer your question, rest for me now is so important. Where I would say 5 years ago, even when I was growing, I was like, I'm good on 6 hours. I'm up at 5. I go to bed at 11 because I'm working to 11. I'm just at my age now, I look at it differently and I find it much more important. And if it means a nap maybe once or twice a week to get me in a good space mentally, I will do that because I just listen
yeah.
to my body. But I strive for that 8 hours. I really
Yeah.
do.
Yeah, well, more and more people need it, and
Yeah.
I've, I at night always get sleep. I rarely drink alcohol, ever,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
it's because you don't get your REM sleep. You're not fully rested, and it could
Right.
spike up your anxiety. And it's just not for me. It's not something I do because I'm like, I would rather have a grateful night of
Yep.
sleep. And but for me, I don't the naps thing. I never got into the naps, and I would crash because I'll be up some mornings. It depends on coaching and whatnot. Some mornings I'll be up at 4, some mornings I'll be up at 6. Usually 6 a.m. is the latest I'll
Yeah.
sleep in unless I'm up till like midnight the night before. but yeah, I'll have a coffee in the afternoon. I'm like, could I squeeze in a nap? Is it coffee?
Yeah.
And it's one of those things I would say it's a constant work in progress, even for me,
No, it is.
the rest part. But I just wanted to hear your definition because there are a lot of people out there that will say sleep when you're dead. You don't
Yeah,
need
no,
sleep. And I'm
I
like,
just no.
I
But
know,
I
I don't
think it
agree with that.
changes. I know, no, I think, but the thing is, it changes as your age changes. I feel like I
Yeah.
need more sleep now than I did, say, in your age when I was
Yeah.
in my 30s.
Yeah.
So I'm just listening to my body. I'm also training a lot more running for the ultra. So I realize my body, when I really start running a lot more miles in training,
Yeah.
I'm just physically and mentally. So I'm taking that time. But I think it comes in seasons. There's times like, no, I'm working. I have a big event tomorrow. I'm planning for something. I'm up late at night and I got to get up early. Like I'm doing that too. But I
Yeah.
think the thing is, there's the people that will say that they need the 8, 9, 10 hours, but they're just lazy.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Like you got to really get down to it. If you're somebody that's focusing on rest, but you're very productive throughout the day, and then like, hey, I need an extra break, much different than the person that is up late at night watching Netflix, then is sleeping in and getting up and eating waffles, the carbs in the morning. They don't exercise. Now they're taking their sugary drink in the afternoon. Oh, I need my afternoon nap. I don't even consider myself in the same country as that person, where like yesterday when I think of it, like rarely I'm like, I did 10 miles. I worked 4 hours. I had another podcast, all this stuff. Like I have 30 minutes. I'm shutting my eyes because I'm also going to get home late because of my game. Like I'm already thinking I'm going to get home late and I need to get up tomorrow.
Yep.
So it's much different than the people, unfortunately, the majority of people out there, because we have an overweight problem, a people stressed out problem, all of it, right? Does that make sense?
Oh, it does. Yeah. And a lot of people will say, I mean, it's excuses too. A lot of people will have excuses but it's really, I tell people, I'm like, you're not getting enough rest. Like, what are your priorities? Track your priorities, track what you're doing throughout the day, because you will notice that you're probably spending about 3 hours a day on your phone.
Wasting it.
Easily. Yeah, wasting it. And that's
Totally. I say excuses are well-planned lies.
yeah. That's good. All these things. I'm just gonna have them as stamps throughout the video. Look for this advice. So, speaking of advice, this is. I would love to just hear your final good piece of advice, or what is one piece of advice that you were told or that you have given. It could be in any respect. And how do you go about, do you practice that advice? Just what is
No, I think the biggest thing I tell people is that wherever you are right now, it may be a page in your life, and maybe a chapter in your life. It's not the book of your life. And I think so often people think I'm too old. I've already had kids. I'm in my 50s or I'm in my 40s and my 30s. Listen, you have breath, you have fresh air, you still have time. And the goal is today, you don't want to waste away your life and look back and have regrets, or say, I wish I did this. That's the part that scares me, is I wish I did this, or I wish I did that. I don't ever want to live with that. That's part of what pulled me to what I do now. So my thing is, wherever you are right now, and I really believe, because I live this one decision, there's a pressing decision in your life that you know right now that you've been sitting on, and it's time to rise up and make that one decision. And you can do it by having a why behind you and why you're doing it. And for you, some people listening, maybe it's your health, something you and I are big about. Maybe it's your marriage is struggling. Maybe it's you need to do better in your career, but everything's in synergy. There's something right now that you need to do, and you still have time to do it.
Wow. Well, I just got to say thank you so much for taking the time to speak and educate everybody on here, to everybody listening. So yes, for everybody listening, I will include all of David's information below. If you want to work with him, continue to hear him, hire him for your company, whatever it is, he's amazing, great energy. I mean, just in the first 5 minutes of speaking, I can tell you, David, and I can tell people listening, you will be transformed. So thank you everybody for listening, and continue to live your best life. I hope you all enjoyed today's episode. If you would like to continue to get these episodes first thing, then go ahead and subscribe to my channel on YouTube and on Spotify under Best Life by You. If you're interested in working together, y'all can go ahead and visit bestlifebyyou.com/work with me, or go ahead and follow me on Instagram at NutriFitJulia. Send me a DM, or just follow for more information, fun tips, and just a lot of humor. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Let's continue to live the best life by you.